Good afternoon, my dear students. Welcome to the online video class session of Political Science, fourth semester. So, my dear students, in our previous class, we discussed about the brief review of Indian national movement. So, in the part of that, we discussed a little bit about the various reasons about the Indian national movement. And in the second class, we discussed about the evolution of Indian constitution, like the 1909 Act, Minto Morley reforms, and the 1919 Act, Martin Chelmsford Act, and whereas the important act, the Government of India Act 1935 Act. So, in our previous class, we discussed about these things. So, my dear students, so today let us discuss about the some of the important silent features of Indian Constitution. So, up to previous class, we discussed about the the constitutional framework, how the constitution was framed with the initiation of the Constituent Assembly and as well as the drafting committee. So under the leadership of drafting committee, Chairman Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, the constitution was submitted to the Constituent Assembly on November 26, 1949. But it was came to effect from 1950s January 26th onwards as India as the Republic country. So there are some kinds of features to the Indian Constitution. So let us discuss about the features of Indian Constitution. So my dear students, I was prepared some kind of PPT for your convenience. So there are some kind of uh, features, silent features of Indian Constitution. How the Constitution was framed by the drafting committee. So the first feature is the preamble. So here preamble is reflects the philosophy and the aims of the Indian Constitution. So it seems that it explains about or it reflects about the aims and aspirations of the Indian Constitution. So what are the issues were covered in the Indian Constitution? So it is like a content page. So each and every book has contents. So like that, the Indian Constitution has also preamble. So preamble explains everything about the 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 philosophical the philosophy and at the same time the aims and objectives of the Indian Constitution, why it was created, and what is the main purpose. So in the preamble, the word starts, we the people of India having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic, and republic. So these are the things were added in the Indian Constitution. In the Indian Constitution. So not only this thing, the preamble also added to secure the citizens about the justice, liberty, and equality. So these are the things also added in the constitution preamble. So it seems that it gives a kind of philosophy of the Indian Constitution and aims and objectives of the Indian Constitution. This is one of the first feature of Indian Constitution. And the second feature of Indian Constitution is it is the written and detailed Constitution. The Indian Constitution is one of the biggest, lengthest written Constitution in the entire world. It was detailed Constitution in the world. It contains at present at the time 18 schedules, 22 parts, and more than 400 articles. At the time of the preparation of constitution, it was contained only 8 schedules, 22 parts only, and very a few articles like 300 some excess articles were there. But at present, it was contains more than 460 articles, 25 parts, and 12 schedules. It has been grown up with the starting days to present. That is why it is one of the the lengthest written constitution in the world. And the third feature of Indian constitution is the combination of rigidity and flexibility. So here the combination of rigidity and flexibility explains about its structure. Our constitution can be changed by two methods. One is flexible method and another one is rigid method. So we can amend our constitution in two forms. We can amend our constitution in a general form. It is a flexibility form, and it is also there that the Indian constitution is, if we want to amend the Indian constitution, it has its lengthest process. It is called rigidity process. So it means in the process of flexible manner, the constitution may amend with a general population or general members. And whereas if we want to amend the constitution of various issues, it is very rigid. That for the in the form of rigid method, the constitution is possible to amend with 2/3 majority. So in the form of flexible method, only general majority is essential. But whereas you want to amend the constitution in a rigid manner, that the 2/3 majority is very essential. So then only we can change the Indian constitution. So here the flexible method is used to change the names of the states, like their territorial and the limitations or creation of new states, or these kind of issues were very flexible to amend in the constitution. And whereas the rigid method is used to change the powers of the president or powers of the Supreme Court and High Courts, and some matters like related to the fundamental rights or DPSPs. So these are the issues. If we want to change, then we need the 2/3 of the majority. Then only we can amend the constitution. So it explains about the rigidity method and as well as the flexibility method. So in the two methods, we can change, we can amend the constitution. And the another feature of Indian constitution is unitary and federal features. So here unitary and federal features explains about the Indian constitution is contains both features, like the unitary features and as well as the federal features. So here the unitary features are as like single citizenship, a single integrated judiciary, a single election commission. So these are the unitary features. And whereas some of the features are federal features, so that are they are written in a rigid and supreme constitution, like two governments, like bicameralism, a representation of states in the upper house, and that is why one of the important person, K.C. Ware, remarked that India is a quasi-federal. Generally, this question used to ask in a comparative point of view. Whoever stated India is a quasi-federal. So K.C. Ware was stated that India is a quasi-federal. Means it has the unitary features and as well as the federal features. So that is why it is called as a quasi-federal. And the another feature is the parliamentary form of government. So Indian constitution adopted the parliamentary system of the government at the central and state levels. So this parliamentary form of government has kind of they have their own features, like two types of executive heads. There are nominal head and as well as the real head. For example, if we take central government, the nominal head is the President of India. The real executive head is the President, the Prime Minister of India. And the second feature of the parliamentary form of government is the Prime Minister's leadership. So here in the central government, the prime minister is the supreme leader, and whereas in state government, the chief minister is the supreme leader. And the third feature of the parliamentary form of government is the principles of collective responsibility of the council of ministers and the parliament. So they have control over the union executives. So here the council of ministers at the central level, they the responsibility, they have collective responsibility to the parliament. And whereas in the state, the council of ministers have the collective responsibility to the assembly. So it seems the parliamentary form of government have these kind of features. And another feature of the Indian constitution is independent judiciary system. So here the judiciary system is neither under the control of state nor under the control of central. So it is the independent judiciary. So here the Supreme Court and High Courts enjoys independence in the matter of appointment of their judges, their tenure, their salaries, their services. So these are the issues. They have take their own decisions as per their constitutional parameters. So the legislatures and the executive shall not interfere in the functioning of the judiciary system, either central level or at state level. So at the state level, the High Court is the supreme body, whereas in central level, the Supreme Court is the supreme body to the judiciary system. In the central level, the legislatures and executive shall not interfere, and whereas at the state level also, in the matter of high courts, the legislature and executives cannot interfere in their functioning methods or functioning manner. All the courts, either High Court or Supreme Court, they enjoy power of their power of judiciary review. So what is judiciary review? Judiciary review is nothing but the judgment which is given by the same court. Again, it is review the earlier judgment. So this kind of authority have the judiciary system in India. So this is the most important feature of Indian Constitution. And the another feature of Indian Constitution is the fundamental rights. Our Indian Constitution contained fundamental rights. So the fundamental rights are inserted in the part of third. So these fundamental rights are aimed at complete personality to the individual's development. So these fundamental rights are borrowed from the American Constitution, and these fundamental rights are incorporated under the part third of the Indian Constitution from the articles 12 to 35. So this is the most important concept in the Indian Constitution. Each and every individual have given fundamental rights. And another important feature of the Indian Constitution is the directive principles of state policy. So DPSPs. So here the directive principles of state policies are in our constitution. It has its own directive principles of state policy. So these directive principles of state policy are inserted in the part of 4 from the article 36 to 51. So these directive principles of state policy makes of our constitution to a responsible citizen. And these DPSPs are directive principles of state policy are borrowed from the Irish constitution. So the Indian constitution concepts like fundamental rights are borrowed from the American constitution, whereas DPSP, Directive Principles of State Policy, are borrowed from the Irish constitution. So like this, it has one of the best constitution in the democratic states all over the world. And the another important feature of the Indian constitution is single citizenship. So here in India, the constitution of India is conferred single citizenship to all the persons who are born in India. So based on the birth, the citizenship has given to the each and every citizens. The this kind of single citizenship is promotes to the unity and diversity among the Indians. So here the citizenship is in the form of two methods, like just solely and just sangini. Like it is based on the birth and based on the blood relation. So there are two methods to given citizenship in India. So here each and every individual is given citizenship in India based on their birthplace and based on their blood relationship. But each and everyone has given only one citizenship. That is, they are Indians. So that is one of the most important feature of Indian Constitution. And the another important feature of the Indian Constitution is universal adult franchise. So here universal adult franchise explains about the Indian Constitution. So it granted the universal adult franchise to all the adult citizens to the right of vote. So here all the adult citizens can cast their vote. So the each and every citizen has given the right to vote. So the right to vote given to the Indians irrespective of their caste, class, region and religion. It has only one criteria, that each and every individual should get the age of 18. So that is the adult franchise. So here the adult franchise is give shape to the democracy system. So here the people have given a weapon of vote to elect their representatives. So this is the most important right to the each and every citizen of India. And finally, another silent feature of Indian Constitution is the bicameralism. So here the Constitution introduced bicameralism at the central level. It comprises two houses like Lok Sabha and as well as Rajya Sabha. And the Lok Sabha is also called as House of Lords, lower house and upper house. So in the central government, there are two kind of houses like lower house and upper house, or Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. And whereas in the states, a few states are having bicameralism. In the matter of states, it is an optional whether the state want to continue the bicameralism. It is their own wish and will. But at present in our India, there are 28 states and 9 union territories are there. But out of them, only 6 states are having the bicameralism, like Telangana. So we have member of Legislative Assembly and as well as member of Legislative Council. So there are 2 members, MLAs and MLCs. So these are the main features of the Indian Constitution. So my dear students, so besides this, there are another various features are there, like a priority to the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes, and uh, supporting support to the backward class sections, the reservations. So like that, there are various kinds of features. So, but these are the most important features of Indian Constitution. So that is why it is considered as the silent features of Indian Constitution. So, my dear students, this is about the silent features of Indian Constitution. So please write down the notes. I will forward the notes for your convenience. So I am here wind up the session, winding up the session. So bye. Take care.